Welcome to another IDEC video. This video is on the 2014-15 changes to the IDEC website and an overview of the random assignment study. So this video is divided into two parts. Part 1 will go over the changes to the website for the 2014-15 school year. Part 2 will go over and review procedures for the random assignment studies for those schools who are participating in the random assignment study. But before we launch into the presentation, just a reminder about payments. And not so much what payments are this year, but just a reminder about what you can do before we've processed your payment and what you can do after we've processed your payment. So what can you do on the website before we have received and processed your payment? Well, one, you can check which categories your schools have been placed in. You can update your site registry. You and your teachers can use the random sample selector to select your 2 students per school for the random sample, or in cases of DLL schools, your 4 students per school. And you can, for those schools in the random assignment study, your teachers can use the randomizer tool to place the 8 students into their matched pairs. After we received your payments, you and your teachers can start entering data and all of the things that I just talked about above. Okay, so let's start talking about changes to the website for this fall. So when you're updating your teacher rosters this year, you will be able to indicate whether or not your teachers were reading recovery and/or literacy lessons trained. You will notice on the screen as you update your teachers that there are checkboxes that you can use to indicate whether a teacher was reading recovery or literacy lessons trained. We will fill out these checkboxes for you for your existing teachers, but you will have to do this for your brand new teachers. These next 2 slides cover changes to the teacher data entry pages. The first thing that you will notice is that additional columns now appear on the page that lists out all of the teachers in your site and what data they have completed. You will notice that we have now 2 new columns, one for literacy lessons teacher data and another column for literacy lessons teacher leaders data. What teachers are allowed to fill out is directly related to what you check on the site registry page. So if you check that a teacher is literacy lessons trained, she will be able to complete a data page for literacy lessons teacher data. If you check that they are reading recovery trained, they will be able to complete a data page for their reading recovery teacher data. Teacher leaders will also be completing literacy lessons data. If you have indicated that one or more of your teachers are literacy lessons trained, you will see an icon listed next to your name under the literacy lessons teacher leader column. The other change that we've made to teacher data is that we've removed the questions about gender, language spoken at home, and race ethnicity off of the teacher data page, and we have moved them to the My Profile page. Teachers will only need to answer these questions once on their My Profile page, and then there will be no need to answer these questions again in subsequent years. IDEC will fill out this information for existing teacher leaders on their My Profile page, but new teachers new to reading recovery will have to go to their My Profile page and fill out the answers. So here is a screenshot from the My Profile page. You will see the gender, what language is spoken at home, and race ethnicity questions listed down below the contact information. To make changes to these, all that you or your teachers have to do is click the Edit Contact Information button at the bottom of the screen, and these will enable the new questions on the screen to be answered. Because of the changes to the teacher data entry page, it's changed a little bit what teachers must do before they can start entering their student data. So, for teachers to be able to enter student data, they first need to fill out their gender, their race, ethnicity, and language spoken at home on the My Profile page. And then just like previous years, they have to complete their teacher data and submit it to their teacher leader, and then complete their building data and submit it to their teacher leader. So we've had a small change to entering student data on the website. we have added a new study group for literacy lessons teacher, and the new study group is Reading Recovery Student served by literacy lessons teacher. If you have indicated that a teacher is a literacy lessons teacher on the site registry, your teacher, when she goes to add a student, will see the Reading Recovery Instructed by Literacy Lessons Teachers study group and the others as seen as example here when they are adding student data on the website. So that concludes the review of the changes to the website for the 2014-15 school year. And now we are going to move into the fun part where we do an overview of the random assignment study. And I swear this is going to be absolutely a spectacular time. So get ready. Here we go. The random assignment study. I would like to start with a brief overview of the study. I3, which just stands for Investing in Innovation, is a federal grant, which Reading Recovery won about 4 years ago. And the condition of the grant is that we must have an external evaluator that conducts an evaluation of Reading Recovery. Our external evaluator is the University of Pennsylvania, and they have devised a clinical trial to evaluate Reading Recovery. The way that this clinical trial is designed is to remove what's called confounding variables. So when they go and analyze the results, the effects that they see can be attributed to Reading Recovery and not to something else. The study also includes the use of an external literacy measure called the ITBS, and this will be compared to the observation survey. To identify which of your schools have been assigned to the random assignment study, all you need to do is sign on to the website, click the Data tab, then click the Student Data subtab, click the View School List button, and then on the far right-hand side, in the far right-hand column of that page, on the View School List page, will be listed out the schools that are participating in the random assignment study. You'll notice next to each name of the school is a little clipboard icon. If you click on that, it generates a checklist that you can print off, make copies of, and give to your teacher or teachers. You can have them use this checklist to make sure that they are doing things that are needed for the study at appropriate times. You don't have to return this to IDEC. This is merely just a little extra tool for you if you want to use it. So a few things to note before we get going into how to do the random assignment study. As a part of the study, our website will be randomly determining which students get served in the fall and at mid-year. This goes against what a lot of teachers have drummed into them about Reading Recovery. We always serve the lowest students first. The reason why this is happening is because, if you remember, the study is designed in such a way to remove what's called confounding variables. And one of those types of confounding variables is selection bias. We want to be able to see if Reading Recovery is equally as effective on any child who's getting it. So let your teachers and your principals know this ahead of time so you're not surprising them with this. It's better to prepare them than to spring it on the first day of school. And we are not denying anyone service. The children in the study will all have the opportunity to receive Reading Recovery. Okay, so how does the study work? So at the start of the school year, your teachers will select the 8 lowest students at their school. They will log on to the website and enter their names into what's called the randomization tool. The students will be placed into 4 pairs of 2, and we call these matched pairs. And for each pair, the website randomly selects who will get Reading Recovery first and who gets Reading Recovery second. Remember, this is the part that your teachers may not like, but it's a part of the study and it has to be followed. So the teachers will serve the students in the order dictated by the website. As children exit from Reading Recovery that are a part of the study, the teachers will be administering the ITBS to these children at the appropriate times. And just so you know, the study is actually examining the growth of both children in the matched pair from fall till about mid-year. So at mid-year, the study is actually over and done with. All right, let's talk about the steps of the study in detail here. So step 1, at the start of the school year, your teachers will rank order their lowest first graders as usual using scores from the observation survey tasks. Step 2, they will sign on to the website, click the Data tab, click the Student Data sub-tab, and then click on the link that says click here to create or view randomized student lists for 2014-15. Step 3, they will select the correct school from the school drop-down list, and only schools participating in the study will be shown here. For step 4, the teachers will enter the names of their lowest 8 students into the randomization tool. They will also indicate whether the child is an English language learner, and they will enter their fall text reading level. Step 5, they will click the Randomize button. This will cause the website to use an algorithm designed by our external evaluators. It will place the children into matched pairs. For each matched pair, the website will randomly decide who gets reading recovery first and who will get reading recovery second. Remember, it may not be the children who the teachers want to serve first that are getting selected to get reading recovery first. It's a random process, and we are not denying anyone service. All 8 of those children will have an opportunity to get reading recovery. So after the randomize button is clicked and the website goes through its process of placing the students in the matched pairs, the results will be shown on the screen, as in the example below. Each row represents a matched pair. So for example, matched pair number 1 is Maggie Wilson and Melissa Roberts. Matched pair number 2 is Janet Marcus and John Gregory. So now in step 7, teachers will begin to serve the first child in each matched pair. This means that in our example, the teachers will begin working with Maggie Wilson, Janet Marcus, Mary Smith, and Mark Anthony. When a first child in a matched pair finishes, then the teacher will move on to the second child in the matched pair. And what's really important is that you can't mix and match which students are going first and second. You must honor the matched pair. So meaning that Melissa will get reading recovery only when Maggie finishes her program. John will get reading recovery when Janet finishes reading recovery. You won't do things like start John's reading recovery program when Maggie finishes her program, or you won't start giving Ralph reading recovery when Mark finishes his program. So we have to honor the matched pairs. So step 8 will be administering the Iowa Test or Basic Skills, or the ITBS. And this is done when the first child in a matched pair finishes their reading recovery program. When a first child in a matched pair finishes, the teacher will test both children in the matched pair with the reading portion of the Iowa Test of Basic Skills, preferably on the same day. This is in addition to testing the children with all 6 tasks of the observation survey. So if we go back one screen and look at our list of students, what it means is that the teacher will test both Maggie and Melissa with the ITBS when Maggie finishes her reading recovery program. Because remember, the study is looking at the growth of children from fall till about the middle of the school year. It's not looking at the growth at the end of the school year. It just needs to know what happens to both children while Maggie is getting reading recovery. Your teachers can watch a video on administering the ITBS right here. Here is a link on the screen to one of our YouTube videos on administering the ITBS. Step 9. So at this point, when a first child in a matched pair finishes, the teacher may now start working with the second child in the matched pair. But if it's determined that another child is lower than the second child in the matched pair, the teacher may select to work with the lower student rather than the second child in the matched pair. You are not required to give the second child in the matched pair reading recovery if there is someone who is in more need. So a common misconception about the random assignment study is that let's say the second child in the match pair didn't get reading recovery for whatever reason. So teachers mistakenly think that we don't need to get this child's data on the website, and that is incorrect. Remember, the study evaluates the growth for both children from fall till about the middle of the school year. So we need the data for every child in the study, regardless if the child got reading recovery or not. It help us avoid criticism of cherry picking our data. We need all the data. So in that scenario, you can have your teachers follow instructions on page 16 of the data manual for the random assignment study, starting at step number 10. And following those instructions, make sure two things. One, that we actually get the data so we can give it to our external evaluator. And two, for those kids who didn't get reading recovery, it flags them in such a way that it makes sure that they are excluded from your report so they don't skew your data. So this concludes our video on changes to the website for the 2014 and 15 school year and an overview of the random assignment study. If you have any questions, please contact our help desk at the phone number and email below, and we'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.